everybody, and happy Friday. It is another Mavens and Manufacturing Day, and this is a special episode, not only because we have Lindsey Nix here, but because this is the last Mavens and Manufacturing live episode of 2024. I'll have a couple other pre-recordings that I'm going to be releasing for the rest of the year, but I'm super excited to have Lindsey here. And if you are not familiar with some of the other guests that we've had, please go to Mavens and Manufacturing on YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll see a lot of inspiring and memorable stories from women in manufacturing and engineering that are just doing some really cool, fun, amazing things and really changing, the game in this sector. So, Lindsey, hello, how are you?
Hi, Megan. Thanks so much for having me today. Really excited
Yeah,
to be here.
me too. I know you're a Midwest girl like myself. You're from Indiana, and it's super cold here. Like it's only like 3
Yes.
degrees.
Yeah, we're
So
a little warmer, but it doesn't feel much warmer.
yeah, I'm not. I don't know how much preparation I ever need to do because I just feel like I'm never prepared for how
Right.
cold it gets here.
Yeah.
Definitely a fall, spring, summer girl for the.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to give you a chance to brag about yourself. So if you're tuning in, feel free to drop some comments in the comment section. Let us know where you're tuning in from. If you have questions for Lindsey as we progress with our conversation, please feel free to share those questions. We have some links that we're going to be sharing with you all after the conversation as well. So don't be shy, don't be hesitant. Uh, be part of the conversation. That's like, but Lindsey, can you please share your personal journey into manufacturing and how it led you to become the Director of Public Relations and Training at Nix?
Yeah, absolutely. So I, grew up in a small Midwest town and never dreamed that I would end up in manufacturing or know anything about welding and machining. And we also have some coatings facilities, but as a little girl, I think I wanted to be an astronaut, and then I think I wanted to be a lawyer, but manufacturing was never in the list of things that I thought I would do. Also never thought I would work with my spouse. So that is something special. I married into our Nix industrial family. So my husband and his brother are fifth generation owners of our family business. So we were founded in 1902 as a blacksmith shop by my husband's great grandfather who immigrated from Germany. Ended up in Poseyville, which is the town that we are headquartered in, and bought one of 5 existing blacksmith shops in our town. We don't really know why or how he landed in Poseyville. He had worked for Steinway Piano in New York City, and we believe there was some family that was probably in the Midwest that brought him this way. But he and his sons were quite the entrepreneurs. So they went on to they owned the blacksmith shop in town. They started the International Harvester dealership in our town. They started a Chevy dealership. They had the hardware store. So they were a very entrepreneurial family, which is just tracks really well for us and our family business, as we've been trying really hard to be entrepreneurial ourselves. So my husband joined the family business in 2004. And we were married. I went to college. I studied business and finance and accounting.
Okay.
And I went on to work for actually an ag dealership in our town, and I was their accounting and finance manager. And at the time when my husband got into the family business, it was just him and his dad and his grandpa and his aunt. So they were very much just a mom and pop welding shop. They fixed farm equipment. They worked for local truck drivers, but just very small, did very little commercial fabrication. And my husband wanted to grow the business, and I'm pretty outgoing. And I thought, well, I could do sales and marketing. That was kind of my passion. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll just quit my job and we'll take the leap and do that. And of course, at the time, my mom thought I was crazy and that I should not quit my very stable, good job to go work with my husband in this family business. We didn't have insurance. We didn't have a health plan. We had no employees. And she thought, this is just crazy. So, that was almost 13 years ago when I took that leap. And started doing sales and marketing. So learning a lot more about commercial fabrication. At that time, we were just a welding shop. So we were building stairs and platforms for local businesses. We did a little bit of coatings, and we started to start our own painting and powder coating facility. So we learned a lot about that, went to some trade shows, had some great, wonderful mentors that helped us start our own coatings facility. And then since then, we've gone on to acquire 8 businesses over the last 13 years. We hired our first employee outside of the family in 2010, and we're up to over 200 folks now across our different business units. But the business units we have now, we have custom fabrication, we have a structural steel fabrication facility, we have 2 machine shops, and we have a coatings facility, and then we have people that also work in the field. So people that do welding and repairs in the field and millwright and maintenance type work. And then we also have folks who do painting and coatings works in the field as well. So needless to say, when I joined the business, I knew nothing about, that manufacturing world. And I have really just been immersed in it through baptism by fire. But it's been so exciting. And what I think has been really cool, and the stuff that you're doing has been so great, is to see so many females that are entering into this arena and doing really wonderful things. And it has been encouraging for me, to continue my journey and learning more about it. I grew up with all sisters, and it just wasn't ever anything that I ever thought I would do. And so it's just been really rewarding to be in this field and, to be with our folks and learn more about it. So.
It's really cool too, because I feel like there is a shift happening where women aren't so involved with the sales and marketing processes. They're actually doing more of the hands-on technology stuff, which is amazing to see, because you tend to have a better attention to detail than most men. That's just how we're built. We do have Hank. Hi, Hank. Thank you for joining us today. Make sure your daughters watch this, because we're talking about some welding stuff too. So they were actually just welding Christmas gifts that they're going to be
wonderful.
sending.
Very cool. Yeah.
I'm super excited about that. Well, your position now, the other thing I want to point out, 5th generation, that is amazing, because you don't really hear of that in manufacturing. Like, I've heard 3rd generation, and then it tends to fall apart a little bit after 3rd generation, and then you get to like other types of ownership after the 3rd generation. But 5th generation is amazing. That's awesome. So congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's been very rewarding. And the oldest of the 6th generation is my son Charlie. He's 10. He asks all kinds of questions, and anybody listening or tuning in that is a part of a family business, I highly encourage you to get your kids involved early and often in the business, getting them in, walking the shop floors, meeting your people, learning about the projects that you're doing. And I had a family business advisor. I'm part of a family business group here in Evansville, and we brought in a speaker, and she had some great advice for people working in family business. She said, when you come home at the end of the day, you often talk about everything that went wrong, or, the problems that you have in the business, but you often don't talk about the really great things that are happening in your family business. So we've really tried to make it a part, of some of our dinner conversations, is talking about the exciting things that are happening in our business to get our kids excited, because we would love nothing more than it to go to the 6th generation. So
yeah, and I think it will teach them a sense of responsibility too, if they start getting some of that hands-on experience in the shop. I know a lot of older generations were like, we probably shouldn't mention how old I was when I started sweeping the shop floor. But now they're like CEOs and owners of the companies that they started sweeping the shop floor in. So it really does teach them a sense of like pride and responsibility, and just hard work does pay off, and you can really grow your career with hard work. Now, I do want to talk about public relations, because you're the first individual that I've had with that specific in their title, and I don't think people really understand the importance that public relations plays in storytelling with manufacturing. So with you specifically, what role does your public relations experience play in shaping the perception of Nix, and how do you see it shaping not only the perception of Nix, but also the perception of the manufacturing industry? Why is it so important?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's kind of with public relations, I kind of think about it in two parts. The first
Mhm.
part is education, which we are super, super passionate about, and I know a lot of folks that you're dealing with apprenticeships and education. So it's that part, and then also the PR part on the introducing Nix to new customers and new industries that we can work in. But with the education piece, we have become super involved with our tech schools and with the high schools. In Southwest Indiana, the high schools got away from having the shop classes and the welding classes and the machine shop classes, and they started building these technical schools, which has been really great. Unfortunately, these technical schools have become so popular that a lot of our local high schools, there's not enough spots for all the kids that want to be going to these technical schools. And a lot of the times it has to be the kids that maybe it's the kids that have great grades, but we all know that grades don't always, equate to someone that's going to be really great in the trade. So, we felt like kids were getting left out. So we made a more concerted effort of working with our local high schools about providing internships, providing job training. So I go to our high schools every semester. I talk about Nix. I talk about the work that we do. We host field trips. So we've got students coming from all of the high schools in our surrounding area. The schools that would maybe feed into us to eventually become, some of our team members. So we're hosting field trips for them to come in, see our facilities, see the type of work that we do, as well as working with organizations like Junior Achievement. So I am on the executive committee for the Southwest Indiana's Junior Achievement. And when people think about Junior Achievement, they often think of, financial literacy and those kind of things, but, helping them mold our curriculum so that we can talk about all avenues of career opportunities for kids. So, giving them more focus to jobs, in the trade. We just had a wonderful event. It's called Job Spark. And we worked with several construction and trade organizations to provide hands-on learning opportunities for over 3,400 students in Southwest Indiana that got to come and learn about welding and learn about machining and painting and construction. So really just getting the word out more about trade. And, I'm a millennial. So I think when we went to high school, there was always a stigma about folks that went to trade school. And my husband, who's our fifth generation business owner, went to a welding and career technical school for 1 year after college and, didn't go to traditional 4-year university. And I think it's, working to get that message out that there are so many great opportunities. And we've even taken it to the level where our local high school has a scholarship day. So when folks from this graduating senior class, they always recognize all of the students who are going to a traditional four-year university and giving them scholarships. Well, we have now gone, and when they give out the scholarships, we give out the full-time job offers to the students. So we think that they need to be celebrated just as much as these kids that are going to a 4-year university. And so myself and my husband take that opportunity to address the whole community and the school and the students and say, hey, look at these kids. They're going to start off, next week, they're going to come to work and they're going to have a full-time job with great benefits. They're going to be contributing to a 401k, and they're not going to have any student debt to go along with that. And, really, trying to celebrate that and get that message out to our community.
I really like that because I still think there is that negative stigma around community colleges, because when my daughter was looking into what colleges she wanted to go to, I was like, I think you should try to go to this technical school or this one, because then you can kind of skip all of the lecture type classes, which seem to cost the most, and then take some of those initially and then get straight into the hands-on experience one. And then you'll find a job sooner. You'll start making money faster. You won't have as much student debt. And she was so hell-bent on just going to a 4-year university. I think she was more like, I need to get away from mom and do my own thing, which is totally fine. But she was like stressed out her first 2 years because it was all the coursework and not hands-on stuff. And she has ADHD like I do. So her sitting in front of a professor was just too hard for her. And she almost quit several times. I'm like, you're not quitting. I'm helping. I've already invested so much money into this. You're not quitting. You're gonna finish. Like
Yeah.
we're finishing this. So now
Yeah.
she's having more fun because she's getting that hands-on experience. But I like the point that you made where you make just as big of a deal with these individuals that are going that route, just as it is with the 4U university kids. Because one of the things that my community, you know how they have the athletic sign-in
Yes, the
days where
signing day. Yep.
they're actually doing that with kids now who are committing to a full-time career at one of the local manufacturers. So
Yeah.
if they do an internship or an apprenticeship and then decide, oh, I'm going to commit to a full-time employee opportunity with this company, they make a big deal about it like they
Yes.
do with the athletes, which I think is really, really exciting.
Yes.
With the junior achievement there that you have, is this something that's an international organization, or is it just
Yeah, it is.
dedicated to
Yeah, it is. So each state has several chapters. So like the state of Indiana, I think maybe has 4 or 5 chapters. So it's
Okay.
usually kind of a regional chapter that houses, several counties or several school corporations. So, so like ours houses several school corporations because we're kind of in a more rural area. So like there's a junior achievement of Indianapolis. And so that has like all the Indianapolis schools because it's a larger population. But definitely for those listening in on the call, if you go to their website, I think you can look up at their locations or something like that. But there's definitely ways to get involved. And it's really great too. So I volunteer in the classrooms. So I teach a couple classes a year. This year I got to teach my son. I always do 5th grade. And my son is a 5th grader this year. So I got to teach him and he was super embarrassed. Did not love having his mom in the classroom, but it's another opportunity. When I go into that classroom, I get to tell those students about Nix and what we do and the job opportunities available. And when I'm giving examples of when I'm teaching the class, I said, well, at Nix, we make these parts for this customer, and it takes an engineer, it takes a welder, it takes a painter, it takes a truck driver, it takes the people in accounting to, process the paperwork. And so, it's just all those opportunities to get yourself out in front of your future team members, which, I cannot recommend enough. And, if we've done anything right over the last, 10 plus years, I think it's, in marketing ourselves, which I think falls under public relations, of just, getting our name out there and what we do. Because we're in the middle of the cornfields in Poseyville. And so, getting people to want to come, work at our company. When we first hired our first employee outside the family, it was really difficult for people to commit to, driving to our facilities where they had better job opportunities and Evansville we're out of. But we've done a great job of marketing, our company and our culture, and getting people excited about wanting to work at Nix.
So let's talk about that because, there is a shift I'm seeing more in the conversations around company culture and the importance of having a really great company culture to get employees to feel some sort of way so that they're more productive, they're happier at coming at work. So you had presented about this at Tech this past year, and you kind of shared a playbook about your culture-based hiring strategy. So can you define that? Like, what does it mean to have a culture-based hiring strategy, and
Sure.
how are you really pulling in that talent? Because there's a lot of companies, even bigger corporations, that are struggling. One second, my phone is ringing because I forgot to turn it off.
You're good. No problem.
Sorry. And it was my daughter, and I'm like, gonna snap at her
You
later.
should be listening in. Yeah.
Between this time, and she totally did. So now I gotta yell at her. But that's fine.
That's all right.
There's a lot of bigger corporations even struggling to find the talent. So, how is Nix really using storytelling and brand building to showcase what your culture is, and how is that really pulling in that top tier talent you're looking for?
Yeah. So I'll kind of start from the basics. So when we first set, and most companies have a vision statement and a mission statement and what all that is, but over the years we've really refined like what our mission statement is. So we used to have a mission statement. It was like to be the best employer and to make great products, and, the 17-line mission statement that companies have. And my husband would be in meetings and he'd be like, what's the mission statement? And everybody's like, well, it's some of these words, and nobody could ever remember. And one day we were trying to refine it. And my brother-in-law said, I mean, to me, it's kind of like be big, act small. Like, we want to be a big company. We want to have all these products and services. We want to have the insurance and the safety requirements and, the certifications that we need to be a big company, but we want to act small. Like, we're a family-owned business. It's going to be like dealing with that same mom and pop welding shop that they, have done business with over the last 100+ years. And what does that mean to us? So we really started by refining our mission statement, which is be big, act small. And if you go ask any one of our 200 team members that we have at Nix, I am very confident that every single one of them will be able to say, if I say, what's our mission statement? They'll say, be big, act small. Like, they know what it means. They know what it feels. And then we really go into, our core values. So we set our core values, 10+ years ago. And we had our team members help us decide what those core values were going to be. So we kind of did like a confidential survey. And, it can't be what Matthew and I and my brother-in-law Adam want. Of course, we're going to have some say in it, but it needs to be what the whole collective whole of us want as our core values. So we had all of our folks, put in words and put in definitions of what they thought that our core values would be. And yeah, we've changed the wording here and there, changed some definitions here and there over the years, but we've, come up with our 5 core values. And then with those core values, we have defined them, and then we've given them like behaviors that we value for that. So it could be, honesty, and then it's, doing what we say we're going to do. I mean, it's just simple things like that. And then with those core values, we talk about them all the time at work. So every Tuesday morning at 7 a.m., every single team member at Nix either joins, if they work in our Poseyville facilities, we will join at our training room, and then all of our remote facilities. So we've got a facility in Louisville, Rockport, Indiana, and Cincinnati, Ohio. They join virtually, and we talk about core values. We highlight a core value, and then we give our team members an opportunity to share where they've been seeing their fellow teammates living those core values through the week. So it can be anything from, my truck broke down last week and I had to be in the shop. So John picked me up every day for work and brought me to work so that I didn't miss any work. Or it could be Jason saw this old lady struggling to pump her gas. So he went and helped her while we were at the gas station on our lunch break. So it's really awesome to see our folks bragging on each other, living our core values. We give a $10 award for the best core value share for the week. So they get a $10 bill. And then we also twice a year do $100 reward. So we bring our folks together twice a year for kind of like a state of the company. And that's really great, because I think what a lot of companies struggle with is communication with their employees. So employees kind of are, and team members, they feel like they're living in the dark. So we try and bring everybody together twice a year. We do it in January and do it again in August. And we do a state of the company. Here's what we've done so far this year. Here are the capital improvements we've made so far this year. Here are our safety records so far this year. Here's what we have on the docket for the next 6 months. And then we also give out some core value award winners. So we let our team members nominate the folks that they see that are living those core values, which has been really, really cool. And it's really a source of pride for our folks. And that has just kind of spread through to make this really super positive culture. And spread through, and we use those as markers during our interview. So, if we, are having some inkling that someone maybe doesn't live up to those core values, maybe they're bad mouthing their former employer or a former boss or whatever that is. We've just been super selective in our hiring processes because we have those core values in the back of our brain and our mind. And, want to let those people in that aren't going to fit that, because it can be like cancer. You get one person in there and it can spread like wildfire.
Yeah, well, and I think with core values too, where some companies don't seem to understand the importance of them, is that it is really set up to kind of filter out who's compatible with you and who's not.
Right.
And I don't know if Nix does anything like this, but I just feel like when you're going through the hiring process, your core values should be something that applicants see right away
Mm,
and be explained to them right away. So if they feel like it's not a fit for them, then they can decide whether or not they want to pursue with any
right.
follow-up interviews or continue to be an applicant for that specific position. Because with family businesses, especially being in business a really long time, I feel like any outsider, because I've been an outsider in a family business,
Yeah.
there was, well, my opinion doesn't matter, my voice doesn't matter, because this has been a family business for so long that the family's opinion and thought
Mhm.
process is going to be prioritized over any of, and it kind of just put a like curtain
Yes.
over the company culture. So it's really cool that you guys are having those follow-up meetings where everybody's involved in those conversations and they're not
Yeah.
left in the dark. So um can you share any like thoughtful campaigns or standout campaigns or initiatives that have really helped elevate your brand presence in the community that you're in? Because I know it can be really difficult being in the middle of the cornfield,
Right.
out in the middle of nowhere. Like it
Yeah.
can be really hard to attract people to come into there. So do you have like a memorable campaign that you did that really helped elevate your presence?
Yeah, there's a couple things that we do. So we have invested a lot of our marketing dollars, and I know when you're a smaller company, it's hard to make these investments. But what I've really seen is we work with a marketing firm who produces very high quality videos for us, and we spend far more marketing dollars on recruitment than we do trying to obtain customers. Like we have a
Mhm.
sales team who is out knocking down doors, trying to get new business. But the marketing dollars that we're spending is on creating high quality videos. So we do an employee spotlight video once a month, and we pick a person from a different division. So we might have a machinist one month, the next month we might have somebody in accounting, then it might be a painter, and it might be a fabricator. So we're trying to highlight all of the trades and even white collar positions that we have in our organization. But what has been really cool about this, and it has, really helped us twofold, was one, getting to hear their, unedited versions of what they think our culture's like. And some of them make me cry because they're so wonderful to hear them talk about, how much it means for them to work at Nix. They're talking about work that matters. That's one of our taglines is, the work we do matters. We're keeping people safe on the job site. We're helping Toyota get those cars off the line so that a mom could drive, her kids to school in her, minivan. It's correlating their work to work that matters. And but those employee spotlight videos have been so wonderful because people are seeing those. We're pushing them out on Facebook, putting some money behind them for sponsored ads. And when they see those videos, they're like, man, like Nix looks like a really cool place to work. Like everybody seems happy there. They have such positive things to say. And what I'm even more proud of is that we don't send a script or questions to our folks before we send the videographer in to do it. He just goes in and does it off the cuffs. He's a great storyteller. He's a great interviewer. And I think that's what has, really help them. And we have I can send you the link and we can post some, but so if people want to look at some of examples of these employee spotlight videos, but it's been twofold because our customers see that. And I think, when I've worked in sales, I've worked in about every division of our business, which I failed to say earlier. I've worked in accounting, I've worked in finance, I've worked in sales and marketing, and now into the role I'm in today. But that's just what it's like in a family business. But and as a sales perspective, you want to work with people that you like and people that treat their employees well. So these videos have not only gotten to highlight our folks, it's, shed our business in a positive light. And it also gives them footage of our shops. So they're in our shops. They're seeing the processes and procedures that we're doing. They're getting, a firsthand look into, what it's like in some of our facilities that maybe they wouldn't have access to. So, I really can't say how impactful those videos have been to our business and to our recruitment. People see those, and oftentimes we'll have a list of folks that just reach out and say, hey, I know you don't have any positions open in engineering or project management or whatever it is, but put me on your list. Like if something comes up, I'd love to have some talks about because of the videos and the things that they've seen, on our socials. So.
I think another great component of success for companies, especially family businesses, is when you're sitting down with your employees and they can see the future of their career pathway. And another part of your job title is training. So can you talk about what sort of things you're doing on the training side to really help develop the skill sets of your employees and how it helps them grow and progress within their career paths at Nix?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 3 kind of training programs that we've developed. The first one is called LEAD, and it's Leadership Exploration and Development. And we have 3 levels of LEAD. So we have LEAD 1, 2, and 3. So our LEAD level 1 and LEAD is mostly focusing on soft leadership skills. So communication, teamwork, we talk a lot about quality, we talk about safety, but anyone who's just starting out kind of in their leadership journey. So this person probably isn't in a lead role or foreman or, so folks that are maybe new to us and are wanting to kind of dip their toes into the lead, into a leadership journey. So it could be folks that are kind of right out of high school. It could be folks that have been with us for a long time that have never really thought about leadership. And they are either nominated by an operations manager in their division, or it's been someone that's, raised their hand and said, I want more, I want to learn more about leadership. I want to, see my path and my direction. So when we first started this program, we were pretty short staffed. So we actually had an outside facilitator help us with this program and help us develop it. But, I think when we first started out, it was maybe like a 10-week program. Each week focused on a different skill set of leadership. So again, things like teamwork, communication. We kind of did a history and culture portion about the business. So different things. We did the DISC. I don't know if you've ever done DISC before, which is like DISC. It's a personality assessment.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
That sounds familiar.
They're all kind of a little bit of the same, but we use DISC at Nix. So they got to learn about their personality and how they work well or don't work well with others. And also how they can try and give that assessment to their team members and, how we work well together. And they also have to do personal presentations. They have to do like a little 5-minute presentation about something that they're interested in. So one guy did, he is a forager. So he'll like go out into the woods and find berries and make like all natural fruit roll up. So it was just, really cool to see. One did like how to change a tire. So they each had 5 minutes. So it was really cool to see, their imagination and their passion for things that they love to do, and giving them kind of that first look into leadership and public speaking. And, we have big aspirations. We have 200 folks at our company right now, but, we have big aspirations. We're hopefully going to have 1,000. And then, 5,000 and 10,000. And so we tell those people that are in these leads, like, we're going to need more leaders, and we want it to be our homegrown folks who are going to lead this organization. So, it might be the very first, they maybe have never had to do any public speaking in their life. And they're a and I want to say just a welder, but they're a welder and had never even, it didn't even cross their mind. So it was really cool to see them grow in that soft skill leadership. And then it moves on to our lead level 2 and lead level 3, which is just a deeper dive into those things. So the level 3 is actually anyone who's in a formal leadership. So anybody that manages people or has a manager title, myself and my husband, my brother-in-law included, we all go through it. So we're reading books and doing kind of like a a book group, or I don't know, what would you call it? But we all sit together and we debrief the book. And, for example, we just read Plain Talk, the New Core Steel book, which was awesome. And, they're a wonderful organization who has been super successful. And we said, okay, what are they doing that we can maybe implement at Nix? We've done customer service. We thought we were lacking in customer service. So we all read different kind of customer service books and came together and said, okay, for next year, what are these customer service things that we can do? So, everyone who is formally or informally leading folks at Nix is going to be a part of that lead program, which has been really cool to see and really successful.
So when it comes to the technologies that you're using and the things that people have to do, the employees have to do on the floor, how do you ensure that your training programs involving that sort of stuff really stays relevant with all of the rapid advancements in technologies? Because, you mentioned welding, and as we know, I think it was last FabTech that I saw my first welding robot, and I was like,
yeah, it's really cool.
It's really cool. But it seems like before it was like, every 5 years this technology is going to be obsolete. But I feel like it's every 2 to 3 years now where technology is going to start being obsolete because things are just so rapidly upgrading and advancing. And how does Nix really keep their training programs relevant to that sort of thing?
Yeah. So our other program we've developed was, it's called Craft. So it is cultivating real advancement for tradespeople. And so we kind of have, and our marketing department is amazing. So they make these great logos for all of these things, but really put it, and even with, and this goes back to core values, but putting a logo with what you're trying to do and really, having those brands within your brand have been really cool for our people. And it makes them take much more pride in these kind of programs that, it seems, gives it more legitimacy. So I highly recommend doing those kinds of things too. But that craft program has been built out by, leaders of those specific trades. So, our lead welders and fabricators, our lead machinists. And, and this is something that's ever evolving. So, we're relying on vendors to come help us when we do training, and, relying on places like FabTech and, all of these people who are putting on different type of certifications. We're sending our people out. We're paying for certifications. We're paying for further education. Rarely do we have a person that says like, hey, I want to go get some kind of certification or go to some kind of class. Like the answer is usually yes.
That's cool though, because you're
in our wheelhouse and what we're going to do, and they have a good case of why this would be great for the shop that they're in. It's like, yes, let's do it. We're embracing the technology. We have a new operations manager in our custom fabrication shop, and he came from the airgas world, and where he was in process and procedure. So it's hiring folks that have great experience in that, who are not afraid of technology. And we have a pretty young workforce who are all very eager to do that. So, relying on vendors, relying on the industry experts to help us do that, because we're all small businesses. We can't recreate the wheel on our own. So using those resources that are out there for us.
But I think it's also important for older generations, because I'm going to bring it back to the dock strikers. Like, there are so many people upset on LinkedIn about the reactions that those dock workmen had to automation. And it's like, no, that's on us. Like, we're not bringing them along the journey of these advancements in technologies. And if you're at a company for 20 plus, 30 plus years, and you don't have that technology background, everybody wants it. Not everybody wants to do additional training. They're happy with doing the job that they're doing that provides with their family. And so when this rapid change comes along, if leadership isn't there having these conversations with them, it really puts like a bitterness in them, like, why weren't we involved in this? So it's really refreshing to hear that Nix is doing that with their employees, so that everybody can move and progress forward with the company, and even maybe have an opportunity to go somewhere else. Not that you want your employees to leave, but set them up for success. And the stuff that you mentioned with Lead, where you're helping them with their public speaking skills, like, and I'm even guilty of this, like, I'm nervous as hell anytime I have to speak in public. Like, it's just a natural natural feeling. So to be able to kind of lessen that nervousness really helps spread the Nix story, which we
Yes.
need if we want to start closing
Yeah.
some of these skill
Yeah.
gaps. So that's really awesome.
Yeah. And what
I
you
do
said
wanna,
about technology, we have some guiding principles that our leadership says, but one of our guiding principles is that, crafts people are the heart of our business, and technology will never replace them. It will only, add to the value of the work that they're doing. And I think, had that conversation been, formed a little differently when it came to the docks workers, we can't go on without you, but we're just going to, help your job, make it easier, help make you more efficient. It's just all about that communication and the way you frame things.
yeah, and maybe educating the media as well too, because they seem to be the big problem with people being, and not in Hollywood, because Hollywood and their movies about horrible robotics and stuff is just not the general public. Speaking of stories, I do want to talk about the book that your company has released called Forging Ahead by Angie Klink. So what was the main inspiration behind this book? Because this is your family's story, and I know that you mentioned that Angie was kind of hired to come in and be the writer for that. So what was the inspiration for this book, and why is it so important for you guys to share that kind of story?
Yeah. So my husband started writing kind of a manuscript about our story. So, along the way, and, especially being in a small town, there's all kinds of rumors like, oh, what are the Nixes up to now? They bought this business, or they're doing this, or they're building this building. Like, what's going on? Because Poseyville is a town of about 1,000 people. So when I say small town, it's very small.
Yeah.
So we know mostly everyone that lives there, but so Matthew, over the years had just, jotted down the stories and jotted down, things that we had been through, but, we've been on this high growth kind of acquisition track with our business. So we're growing the businesses that we have, but, we're wanting to acquire businesses that help us geographically and then also help us in like product and service offerings. So like, for example, we don't do a lot in the stainless steel kind of pharmaceutical arena. And that's something that we'd like to do. So like if we could find a shop like that in say Nashville, or, that's going to help us go south and also help us fill that bucket of that customer segment. So when we're going in and acquiring these businesses, of course, it can be very scary for the team members that we are, acquiring to join the Nix family. So Matthew's like, wouldn't it be great if we, had a book about our journey and our business that we could walk in, and especially to the management team, say, here, read this book. This is your assignment before we, take over and start to do things. But give them a better feeling about the Nix family and about what they're joining, and, helping them, be a part of that ride. So Matthew wrote kind of a manuscript and had floated that out to a few people. And they said, this is really great. Like, I think this could be a business book and for family businesses and then manufacturing and welding arenas. And Matthew's like, I just don't know, and like I said, he didn't go to a 4-year university. His spelling and grammar is not great. Sometimes when he makes Facebook posts, I'm like, hey, let me read that before you hit post. ChatGPT has been really great to help him with his grammar. So he wasn't super confident in his writing ability, although he is wonderful and he is a great storyteller. But someone said, well, why don't you have someone take your manuscript and then help write the story? So in comes Angie Klink, who has done a wonderful job telling our story. So she took Matthew's manuscript along with coming to Poseyville. She spent a week in Poseyville doing interviews. So she interviewed me, everyone in our family, a lot of our original employees, and just mentors and people that have, helped us along the way. And she wrote the book, and we thought we would not get a traditional publishing deal. We thought we'll just go through Amazon, print them ourselves, and kind of just do our own self-published kind of thing. She said, well, I have a couple publishers. She's like, I'd like to send it out to, and we'll see if we get any bites. And the first company she sent it to, Kohler Publishing, loved the book and said, we'd love to do it. And so here we are now. It came out on December 3rd, and it's available on Amazon. And but it's just going to be, through our acquisition journey, I think it's going to be a great tool to help tell our story to our future team members, to future businesses that want to be a part of the Nix family. To our customers and our vendors, the people that work with us. It's just really to share that with all of them.
But I think it's also an important resource for other manufacturing companies, family-owned businesses, and other business owners. Like, the best way to progress yourself as a business owner or just business in general is to learn from other businesses who might be in the similar situation as you. So, and it's the holiday season, so perfect time to take a
perfect time to buy for your family.
So we'll include that link in there. I'm looking forward to purchasing it and actually reading it as well. I'm reading a lot more manufacturing books, which is I'm really excited for, because we do need to do a better job. And don't let Matthew be ashamed of like his grammatical errors and stuff. My dad is the same. Like, my dad will send me stuff and I'm just looking at him like, you can't send this out. Right. No one's gonna understand. But with math, he can figure math out, no problem.
Yes.
Same with my sister.
I'm just like, same with Matthew's brilliant mind, but spelling is not his forte.
I think that a lot of engineers, though, they absolutely worried about other stuff. They don't have time to worry about if something sounds right or is spelled right. I am interested, because we're getting close to time here, so I want to get your insights on, what do you see from your position as the biggest trends that are really shaping the future of manufacturing? It's especially in relation to workforce development, because one of the stats that I read, the Navy sector, where they need 160 some thousand plus people to come in and help make submarines. So what are you seeing that's really helping companies bring in that talent and retaining them and creating a stronger foundation in workforce development?
Yeah. I think it definitely, when you talk about creating that foundation, and it's targeting that next generation. So, we've got folks who are, towards the end of their career, and the things that were important to them are not important to those folks that are coming in now, right out of high school, right out of college. It's that work life. Ever since people say balance, I don't believe in that. You just manage it. It's work-life management, I think. There's no such thing as balance, but but I think it's meeting people and finding out what's important to that next workforce. It may not be money. It may not be better insurance. It may not be, they want more time with their family. And that's what we've seen as this next generation has entered our workforce. It's about time away from work. Like, that is what's going to be important to them. So, it's, crafting the roles and the work hours and the vacation time and what that's going to be, so that when they are at work, they're super engaged, they're working hard, they're satisfied in their role satisfaction. That too. It's, having those check-ins, not just once a year at their evaluation, and say, are you happy in the role you're in? Do you like what you're doing? Do you have, we have another program that we've crafted. It's called Path, but it's their path at Nix and their path in their career. And if you're maybe a welder or a fabricator today, do you want to learn about detailing? Do you want to learn about project management? Do you want to be a foreman? Do you want to be an operations manager? So it's helping them see their path, because when they are fulfilled at work, they're going to be, much happier. They're not going to be looking for the next best thing down the road at another manufacturing facility. So I really think where companies need to be focusing their time is on fulfillment, technology and fulfillment. Technology to help them make their job better. And then the fulfillment aspect. We've launched programs. We're doing Smart Dollar with Dave Ramsey, the Dave Ramsey organization. We've paid for all of our employees to have a subscription to Smart Dollar, because we know that financially stable employee or team members are going to make much happier team members, because if they're worried about paying their bills and, paying their mortgage and their car payment and the next grocery bill, so we're trying to help them create budgets so that they're happy at home. We've started a Dream Achiever program where our folks can, tell us their dreams. And it could be like their dream could be taking their family to Disney World, or their dream could be paying for their daughter's college or buying their next house or whatever that is. But we, that fulfillment aspect, I think, is going to be super, super important. And I know it's hard in the manufacturing world because that seems very touchy-feely, and we don't work or live in this touchy-feely world or realm. But I think if businesses can embrace that, we're going to see a much more successful industry.
Yeah.
You may not stairs and platforms next year. With technology and advancements, we have no idea where our business is going to go. But if we're creating this great place to work, like how awesome is that going to be?
Yeah, I think what you're doing with the finances is really, really commendable, because I don't ever remember having a basic class of financial literacy, or how do you budget for something? How do you save for something? I don't even know. I think my daughter has a savings account, but I don't even know if she has any money in the savings account. But the only reason why I know about some of that is because my mom's like, okay, when you get paid, you pay yourself first. And you put it in a savings account. You don't touch it unless you don't really need it. I think I still shock a lot of people when I'm like, I don't have any credit cards.
Yeah. We don't either.
You survive, and I'm like, because if I can't afford it, I'm not buying it. Like,
yes,
I just don't have a credit. Well, what about emergencies? Yeah, I have a savings account for that. But I touch, and everybody just thinks that's like crazy that I don't have any credit cards. And it's like, why am I gonna spend money I don't have? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. So it's just the way my brain is. For your role in public relations, how has it really changed with the rise of digital transformation in manufacturing? Because I think that's affecting all of our jobs, and I think we can reach a broader group of people with certain technologies. So, like, how has your role changed specifically with all these digital things?
I think, just little things like meeting you, I shot you a message, a message on LinkedIn, and, I listen in and would love to, so it's getting our message across to, we're not limited by the interstates and the highways right around us anymore. We have the opportunity to meet these folks and help spread these ideas of what we're doing. When it comes to customers, we're not limited to the customers that our sales rep can get in a car and drive to anymore. With the technology and the internet and, COVID, the good and the bad of it have, kind of taught us that, we're not limited to our region anymore, which has been really cool.
You're not just a small town of 1,000 people anymore.
Yes. Yeah. And it's been things like FabTech, and that's part of a lesson in all of this is putting yourself out there, which, you have done such a great job, and, with all the organizations that you're a part of, and helping spread the word about, females in manufacturing and spreading that. It's just, not being afraid to, have these conversations. And, I think the internet has really helped us do that, and to meet new people and spread these ideas, which has been just super exciting. And I only see that continuing to do that. If someone would have told me I would have spoke at FabTech, I would, and 16-year-old me would have been like, what is FabTech? Fabrication, no idea. Would have never thought that I would have done that. But seeing other women like yourself doing these types of things and spreading it has just been encouraging, and been really awesome to be able to do that.
That's awesome. Well, I do want to commend you, because Hank just said too, he's like, we make the girls put at least 50% of what they get into the bank and budget the rest of it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Keep teaching that stuff, because they need to. And, your comment on, we're not really a place of touchy-feely things. We kind of have to be now, because customers buy from companies they trust. And what creates trust? It's that connection. There's something about who they're buying from that really got into their feels, as much as people don't want to admit that sometimes. Like, I like Harley Davidson as one of the brands that I continually buy from. Why? Because their commercials really make me feel like take over the world, and this is making me feel really empowered, and being a biker chick is awesome. Like, it gives you those feels. So you have to share those stories and be able to meet people where they are, especially if you want to retain them as employees. I spoke with a gentleman on the East Coast, and he took over his company 2 years ago. And when he took over, they switched their work week down to 4 days. They gave pretty much the same opportunities to their hourly workers as they did with their salary workers. So their hourly workers have the same amount of like PTO and sick days as the salary workers. They also have opportunities for bonuses and incentives. So if they bring an idea to him or one of the leaders in the company, and that idea actually works in like either reducing downtime or saving money or increasing something, they get a bonus for it.
Yep.
Which is
It's
cool.
wonderful. Yes.
Yeah. So why not make all of your employees happy? Because it lessens the other stress that they're probably dealing with in their personal lives, makes them more productive, which is just good for your bottom line. So I commend you on all of the things that you're doing, Lindsey. I'm really excited to read your book and hear more from Nix in general, because I feel like we're going to be hearing a lot more from you guys, especially after your book release. I do want to ask you a question.
Sure.
Before I let you go, if you had one ask for our audience, what would your ask be for them?
Oh, man. Well, I would encourage you to buy the book and to read it, and please, and to reach out. You know, we love to hear other people from either family businesses or people that have worked in family businesses, and how it has impacted you or encouraged you. You know, one thing I'll say the book is it has the good, the bad, and the ugly. Like, it hasn't, we felt like we've been on this rocket ship, and when people see us on the outside, it looks like our line has gone like this, but it's really gone like this. You know, it's been, you know, a wayward struggle to get to where we are today. It's been very exciting and it's been fulfilling. But I think if you're, you know, interested about learning about family businesses and those dynamics, both of siblings and father, son, and now, you know, being married and into the business, you know, all those dynamics are in that. And just as well as, you know, a high growth company and what that has taken to happen for us. We, you know, are just so excited to share our story with all of you, and hope that, you know, it touches you all too, as much as, you know, and how exciting it has been for us.
Yeah. Well, what's the easiest way to get in touch with you if anybody has questions or wants to learn more about Nix, or even?
Sure. Yep.
I would definitely drop the link to the book, because Hank made a comment about dropping a link to the book. So I would definitely do that after I get off the live with you today. But what's the easiest way to connect with you?
Sure. Yep. I'm on LinkedIn, so you can just shoot me a message on there. I'd love to hear you from there. And then our website for our company is nixindustrial.com. So you can reach us out there too. But definitely probably LinkedIn would be the fastest way to get straight to me.
Awesome. Well, Lindsey, I want to thank you again for taking time out of your day to speak with me about Nix and share your experience within public relations and training. I think you shared a lot of good tips for smaller businesses to consider for 2025, especially. So if you're tuning in and you're having a hard time, you know, with your company culture, make sure to check this full episode out. You can catch it on replay on the YouTube channel. I'll also upload it to all of the podcast channels for Mavens in Manufacturing. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend and a happy new year and Merry Christmas and happy holidays. If you are struggling with your own brand story, be sure to stay tuned. I have a sponsor coming up with Z Inc. Solutions. We're not your grandmother's writing or technical writing. We actually have some edge in our voices. So stay tuned for that message from our sponsorship. Have a good one, you guys. Good weekend.
Bye.
This episode of Mavens in Manufacturing has been sponsored by Z Inc. Solutions. Z Inc. Solutions. This isn't your grandmother's copywriting service. We provide copywriting and copy editing services that provide impactful text and memorable storytelling for a variety of brands and industries. Contact us today at zincSolutions.com. That's z-incsolutions.com.